What's up, guys? Today I wanted to talk about the one thing that's on seemingly every Bear fan's mind, the defensive end position, specifically if Ryan Poles plans to add another pass rusher. Well, there are multiple rumors flying around, and Ryan Poles had a couple of interviews today as well. He appeared on 670 The Score and ESPN Chicago and was asked about a lot of different topics, but the one that continued to pop up is if he was going to make another move at defensive end. Poles then added fuel to the fire by saying a move might be coming soon. He obviously wouldn't give away too much, but Poles has been insanely honest as a GM. People still don't believe this, but he told us he was going to trade the number 1 pick and what he planned on getting for it, and then came through with the blockbuster trade less than a week later. He now told us twice today that he's still looking to improve the roster for this season. Now, that's a blanket statement because he's always trying to improve the roster, but his quote saying, "maybe something will happen soon," is where the speculation comes from. Poles has a swagger to him that I love, and what I took away from this is that he expects to make a move at defensive end before training camp. We are in the middle of May and roughly 10 weeks away from training camp, so it doesn't necessarily have to happen really soon, but Poles hinted that it might be coming. When asked directly if he plans to add another edge rusher, he responded, "Yeah. I mean, we're always investigating options via trade or signing someone that's available post-free agency. We really don't stop looking for talent." That was the Poles quote. After that, NFL reporter tweeted out about a potential Chase Young trade, saying Chicago would most likely include draft capital escalators based on Young's availability. Basically, more games played equals a higher draft pick. This is not the first Chase Young to the Bears rumor that have circulated. I actually made a video addressing the rumors a few weeks back. There are also rumors circulating that the Bears have spoken to Yannick and Ngakoue about a deal as well. I wanted to talk a bit about each guy, what it would cost to get them, and the likelihood it happens. Let's get right into it. First up is Chase Young. What would he bring to the table? A 24-year-old blue chip talent, an elite edge rushing prospect. He tore his ACL in 2021 and returned to action late last season. He looks healthy, and he has the entire offseason to continue getting in better shape. He's a generational prospect in my opinion, and if healthy, can be one of the best defensive ends in the entire league. What would it cost to get him? This is where it gets tricky. The Commanders recently declined his 5th-year option, so he is in the last year of his deal and scheduled to enter free agency next offseason. With that being said, the Commanders did the same thing with Daron Payne. They aren't stupid, and they don't plan on just giving away a supremely talented young player for nothing. If they keep Chase Young and he has a huge season, they can still franchise tag him next year, just like they did with Payne. However, after signing Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne to big money, combined with declining Chase's 5th-year option, the writing is on the wall. Young's time in Washington seems to be coming to an end. He was a top 3 pick in the NFL draft and has a friendship with Justin Fields. I think the Commanders want a first-round pick for him. Ideally, I think if Poles could work it out to be a second-round pick, it would be perfect. It really comes down to what the Commanders want in return. As much as I love Chase Young, I wouldn't want to overpay for him. We have 2 first-round picks next year, and I don't want to lose that advantage. I would trade a second-rounder for Chase Young in a heartbeat. What's the likelihood that this deal happens? Most people will say Poles is a build through the draft kind of guy and doesn't trade draft picks. But that's not entirely true. Poles proved last year he's willing to deal draft picks for talented young players that fit the scheme, a la Chase Claypool. He also traded down to acquire DJ Moore and gave away a pick for N'Keal Harry. On top of that, Chase Young is a perfect scheme fit. He's young, athletic, has the length and size that Poles and Eberflus love. I think if the price is right, the Poles would definitely look into trading for Chase Young. Remember, we have an extra 1st and 4th round pick next year and an extra 2nd round pick in 2025. So Poles has not only the flexibility, but also the extra draft capital to get a deal done if everything fits. I still think it's unlikely, but I would be a huge fan of a move for Chase Young. Okay, now let's talk about Yannick Ngakoue a little bit. He played for 5 different teams in the last 5 years, but he's produced 65 career sacks, and he's an established pass rusher. His issue is he's not good against the run. However, right now, what we need is someone who can get after quarterbacks. We have a lot of run stuffers on this defensive line, but we do not have a proven pass rusher. Yannick fits that bill perfectly. On top of that, he's a free agent, so he doesn't require any draft capital to bring in. But is he a hits principal guy? I doubt it. I think he would be a good fit on a 1-year deal for around $7 or $8 million, but he's just a short-term fix and would not fit into our long-term plans. Another possibility would be Frank Clark from the Kansas City Chiefs. Poles is familiar with him. He's a free agent, 29 years old, but would fit perfectly as a pass rushing option at defensive end. He's clutch and has over 70 career sacks, including the playoffs. Clark might want to play for a contender, but maybe Poles can convince him that if he joins us, we can potentially be a playoff team. I think this one isn't very likely, and Poles might just surprise us and add someone that nobody's talking about right now. Another guy on that list that I would keep an eye on is Carl Lawson from the New York Jets. Carl Lawson was once a top 10 defensive end in this league. He signed a big free agent contract with the Jets, but he's been hurt. He's in the last year of his deal. They just drafted his replacement in the first round, most likely, and they can save $15 million by getting rid of him. So there's a chance that Carl Lawson of the New York Jets also could hit the market. He would be my top option if he got cut. But also, he's a top option if we can trade a late round pick for him. But basically, we don't know what Poles is going to do. That's why it's important to stay tuned. Because Poles hinted a move could be coming very soon, I'll be here to cover it when it goes down. Please remember to hit that like button for me. And until next time, bear down.
Speaking of letting you cook, Bears fans want to know, will you add an edge rusher here in the offseason? It's like the number 1 question we receive here on the show. What would your response be to that?
Yeah, I think of my group and I, we've proven that we're always, investigating options via trade, signing someone that's still available, post free agency. So we don't really stop looking for talent.
Swifty in the house!